Taros Kovacs didn't remember much of his childhood, except for a single core memory. He remembered the noises of destruction in his village, his mother forcing him to swallow a thick black fluid, causing him to pass out. When he woke up, he was buried under a mountain of bodies. After struggling to climb out, all he found in the aftermath of the chaos was silence. He heard a high-pitched whine in his ear as he was covered in goosebumps. He didn't understand what he was feeling. It wasn't pain, grief, or fear. It was awe. He was too distracted by this feeling that he didn't even notice the men approaching him, even being completely unfazed when they picked him up and put him in a small wooden cage filled with slaves. As they headed off to Italy, he kept his eyes locked on that scenery. From that day on, Toros belonged to the GC. He learned to wield weapons, forge armor, and recite a code of chivalry to obediently serve those who hire him. Over time, Toros miraculously made a few friends. I'm not saying the word miraculously there to be mean or anything, it's just that everyone there saw each other as competition and wouldn't hesitate to take each other out if they could. Also, it's kinda hard making friends as an adult. But his skill, strength, and smarts attracted a small following who believed in him. 3 of these followers pledged their undying allegiance to Taros and came to be known as his pack, his squad. Alejandro Santiago, apprentice with the GC's armorer. Durkos Malasek was good at being a little sneaky sneak. Sandor Ralt matched Toros in size and strength, but his weapon of choice was a massive battle axe. He's just quirky like that. As the GC carried out campaigns in faraway lands, Taros repeatedly stayed at the top of the leaderboard. But after many years, all those W's still didn't bring Taros closer to that feeling he had back in the village. Nevertheless, for his bravery in battle, he was granted knighthood and freedom. This Hungarian slave reached max level and was now liberated. But his heart still longed for what he didn't understand. Tired of taking orders from those he considered his inferiors, Taros left the GC. The GC leader, however, refused the request in his 2 weeks' notice that his followers be allowed to go with him. Determined to raise enough gold to liberate his followers, Taros got himself hired by a wealthy Italian lord, Vittorio Toscano, the Duke of Porto Scuro. Oh, sorry, I'm kind of hungry. The Duke of Porto Scuro. Taros joined Vittorio's latest expedition to find the Lapis Paradisus, a stone that Vittorio believed held secrets to open a gateway into a perfect world beyond good and evil, a paradise. They traveled from Roman ruins in France all the way to the catacombs beneath the Portuguese city of Sintra. The citizens there considered the catacombs sacred and refused them entry. Taros wanted to wipe out the villagers guarding the entrance. Like, he really wanted to do that. That was his first thought, no negotiations. Vittorio, kind of realizing he probably shouldn't have picked the first dude out of whatever their equivalent of Craigslist was, commanded Taros to find another way. Taros waited for Vittorio to ride back to camp and tried to find another way in. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, no, he annihilated everybody on his way in to get to the stone. That's when he realized, why not use it for himself? Upon returning to the town of Portoscuro, Taros imprisoned Vittorio in his own dungeon, demanding to know the meaning behind the symbols on the stone. Vittorio refused to talk, so Taros ramped up his interrogation skills, going all bad cop and brutally torturing Vittorio's friends and family. But nothing he did shook Chattorio enough to spill the beans. Enraged, Taros seized control of Vittorio's riches and raised a small army. Taros marched upon the GC to violently free his followers. This spooked the lords and neighboring provinces who believed Taros was pure evil, so they banded together to create a moral and virtuous army. With his enemies on the march, Taros headed towards the dungeon to dispose of Vittorio, just in case the opposing army somehow gets there and frees him. But he hesitates, realizing he would never learn Vittorio's knowledge and secrets. But neither would anyone else. He kicked open the dungeon door and walked in, and no one was home. Taros stood silent for a moment before screaming in anger. The sound of battle outside reached him right after. He instantly ran out. The moral and virtuous lords rained giant flaming projectiles on the town, bursting through homes, crushing villagers, and engulfing the area in flames. Amidst the chaos, the squad found Taros, and back to back, through the ultimate power of friendship, they became a whirlwind of death. They were so focused on getting that #1 victory royale that Taros didn't even notice the strange fog rising from the fallen corpses. It thickened until he couldn't see a thing. He called out for his squad, but there was no response. When it finally dissipated, the fog revealed a wasteland of corpses and destruction. He stared in awe. That familiar high-pitched whine sounded in his ears. His heart had found exactly what it had been searching for all his life. He had found paradise.